All right, entering into week 6. Is this week 6 already? Man,
Oh,
um, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we've got our plan. We've got our next steps planned out. We know what we want people to do. We know what the website should do. We've got all our content written, and we've got our home pages pretty much mapped out. We're going to go over a couple of additional frameworks or recipes today, as well as how we want to fit the content in the rest of the site. Now, I have some frameworks or recipes. I like to call them recipes because I think eventually we're going to have like mixing and matching of sections to really kind of make something flexible. But following the content planner that you filled out, if you filled it out in pretty much the same order that it's presented to you, these recipes will match it 1 to 1. So I've got a few here to show. We're going to start by looking at the home pages first. Just a few different ways to say the same thing, but to show you that the visuals can really change, but the message can always be the same. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. And I'm going to zoom in here. So you'll have a copy of all of these in your notebook or spreadsheet. So I'll have a link to a Google folder that will have everything we're going to share here today, plus a few more that just could not get done, but I'm very happy with what we have today. So again, if you look at the website framework, let me see, do I have that here? So as we go through the homepage, we'll have your headline section with like the one thing you want people to remember. We'll have the empathizing section, like this is, we understand where you are. The three ministries headline, where, these are the three places most people will connect. Your testimonials, what to expect, what's church life like in 3 simple steps, your secondary CTA, and then your last call to urgency. So we're going to look at 3 ways to present that. So this first one is probably the way you'll see most church websites structured. It's very simple in that section format, section scroll, section scroll. Um, we've got the headline, subtitle, service times, primary CTA. You probably got a video background. Okay. You might do some values here. We just left that in, I guess. Um, your empathetic headline, it's almost the same design wise. It's almost the same as the top. Like we're not being anything fancy here. Big three ministries, 1, 2, 3, plan your visit. You'll have some scrolling testimonials here. This is a screenshot, by the way. It's not interactive. It's not an actual site. Um, what can they expect when they attend your church? Step 1, plan a visit or join us on Sunday. Step 2, come to a membership class. Step 3, connect to a group. We put your images here. Secondary CTA, if you want to have events, if you've got a lot of events going on at your church, nothing wrong with having events on the front page. In fact, I may recommend it. But if you are a small church, meaning you have outside of Sundays, you have maybe 1 or 2 events a month, I don't think you need events on your homepage. I think you use something else. So for many small churches, a great thing to put here is uh, past sermons or prayer request, something that if they're just not ready to plan a visit, here's what they do. And then finally, your last call urgency headline. Once again, it's basically a repeat of the top. You're just being consistent in the way that you're calling people to take action. So on a very, very, very simple thing, this is your homepage. It's very simple to see your church at a glance. Here's a second one, just a little different in its presentation. We've got I can't zoom in anymore. Why can't I zoom in anymore? Here we go. And Paul's here. Let me let him in. So here's the second homepage example. This one is not like, oh, you got Kyla in here twice. There we go. Um, we've got an offset. So you don't always have to have everything centered on your homepage. You could have something on the left and then the picture on the right. Nothing wrong with that. We don't have to get too fancy. Do we have an example? I'm trying to think if we have an example of that. We kind of do with Orchard Knob, even though they messed it up. So we've got the message here on the left. We've got for them, it's a video, but you could have an image here on the right. Um, okay, then you've got an empathetic headline, some more information, picture of the church, picture of the pastor if you want. Top three ministries, if you want to have a description, a one sentence line for each ministry, you can do that. So we've got, just the ministries here. I like this version better. Testimonials, maybe you only got two, just put two on the homepage. What to expect, step 1, 2, 3, call to action. Past messages, you could have your past messages. Hopefully, you've got a sermon widget or something, YouTube playlist, whatever you have, you can put them right here. And then finally, last call, urgency headline. Notice it's basically the same format as the top. Just keep it simple. The third homepage example, we've got a little bit of layering on this one. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but it's another example. So we've got the same centered headline. And this is really good with the video background because you'll notice there's not much happening in the menu. So you can take over the full top here if you want. Empathetic headline. Maybe you've got another video, a video of the pastor. For example, this one, we've got a video here. I don't know if you can hear the audio. Okay. So you could have a little video there of the pastor just repeating a little bit of what he's got here or expounding upon that. And then what to expect. Here's your journey. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, join us on Sunday. Step 2, come to a membership class. Step 3, get plugged in. Big 3 ministries, just have them listed out. 1, 2, 3. Testimonials. If you've got some shorter testimonials, nothing wrong with having more of them. And then if you got a free resource, use that as your secondary call to action. So we have one so you'll see the same thing here. Main headline, empathetic headline, testimonials, 3 steps, start on Sunday, experience transformational journey. Step 2, live and share abundant life. Step 3, big 3 ministries right here. And then free resource. Looking for all this information? Let's go download this. Okay. And then last call urgency headline again. Remind them. Don't settle for normal. Move beyond the normal church experience. So these are 3. So you'll notice again, the information here is pretty much the same. We're just presenting it in different options. So you can, and again, to go back to design theory, you can basically put this in whatever blocks you want. Centered, left, right, centered, left, right, centered, 1, 2, 3. And it's all just sections, columns, and then the widgets or stuff you want to put in it. Okay. A little tip that we didn't get into last week is to keep in mind that we read from left to right. So if you can flow from left to right, I can show you since I have my screen share. There's a great image here. So we'll read from left to right. So as you put your stuff in here, make sure that you make it easy to go from left to right, whether it's F pattern or Z pattern. There was one more that usually shows up. I don't know where it is. So if you're going to do left to right, so we got the text on the left, then we move to the right, then we move to the center, we stay centered, now we go left, right? You don't ever want to go left, right, center, right, or left, right, right, left. You just want to try to keep that flow. It doesn't matter too much on mobile, but just keep that in mind as well. You want to keep things moving in that F or Z pattern. So those are the different homepage examples. There's also some different examples of footers and headers, but they're basically all the same. Any questions about homepages before we go on to the internal pages? Something that someone mentioned, and that someone might have been me. It's been so long. This is what we might consider a scrolling navigation menu, except the only thing we're asking them to do is plan a visit. So as they scroll, this last one I think is more of an example of that. We get your primary call to action, join us on Sunday, secondary, watch a sermon. And then we've got some other things, like maybe you just want to jump to a ministry. Okay, go jump to the ministries. All right. Maybe you want to watch a message. So it's almost like we're presenting them with a navigation menu as they scroll through. So if they're not sold yet on taking a next step with you, we continue to offer them other things to do. The larger your church, the more things you can put on your homepage that are completely different from each other. But as a small church, which most people are that are taking this course, you want to maintain that theme. So you want to make sure that you keep like just reinforcing. We want you to plan a visit. Primary CTA, primary CTA, primary CTA, primary CTA. And then they can actually click through and see some events. Like, oh, okay, they got this. That's pretty cool. So those are the home pages. Next on here, you've done your what to expect or plan a visit page. And again, you can call it whatever you want. We'll call it a plan a visit page. Did I pull that up? I don't know if I pulled that up. Oh, no, don't put it in the document. Here we go. So this is an example of a plan a visit page following the framework that we gave you. So, what again? Don't get cute on the plan a visit page. Just call it plan a visit, plan your next visit, what to expect, what happens on Sundays, right? And then in your sub headline, if you're going to have a sub headline, always include just recap or continue on the same thought. So don't say what to expect at church name. Um, we believe in only the Bible and nothing but the Bible. So help me God, or whatever. Like keep those two things are true, but they don't relate to each other. So what to expect at church name, a welcoming environment where you can learn about God or work out your faith. Like that's flow. Okay. If you're going to have a plan to visit, widget, icon, form, whatever, you can put that button there. Service times are next. Now you can, if you just have a single service time, you can just put it right here in the sub headline. The reason I like to do this is number one, it's another signal to Google where you are, when you are, and it gives them an option to get directions. Depending on your website platform or how well you know how to code, you might need to put two links here, like open in Apple Maps, open in Google Maps, nothing wrong with that. The reason I like that is twofold. Number one, it opens up their Maps app so they can basically have you in their history. So when they want to find you on Sunday, they just open up Maps. They know they visited you. They can click and get directions. Number two is it's just honestly a positive signal. Like, hey, people are looking for directions. It's just a good sign for Google to say this is a relevant church. So I like to put that there. And then have a map. Now I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a more in-depth YouTube video, I think, this week on using maps in your website. The purpose of a map on your plan a visit page or wherever you are on your website is just to show where in town you are. Because if you're, for example, in Houston, I could find a great church in Houston, but if you're south of the Beltway, you're too far for me, right? But if I'm in South Houston and you're North Houston, you're too far. So especially in South Bend's about a medium town, I think. So I just want to see where they are in town. So we set this zoom so we know they're in the LaSalle area or they're over by Fat Boy's Creamery. If you go this far out, that's even fine. But what I don't like is when maps show up like this. If they load up like this, I have no idea where it is in town. This isn't helpful. So when you do a map, set it in your website management platform. This is where we are. Okay, that's about where they are. Um, do I have another example? I think City Point has one. Yeah. So they're in Wiley. They're right dead smack in the middle of Wiley. So I know where they are. Fantastic. Again, if it's too close, I don't know where Brown Street is. I don't know where it is. If it's almost impossible to be too far, but that's probably too far. That doesn't tell me exactly where in Wiley. So try to find that good middle spot. So that's what I recommend here. And again, plan to visit. Try not to use an image because people will expect if they click a map, something should happen. And for many mobile devices, if you click the map, it'll open up in a Maps app. Our website, I don't know the coding behind it, but when they click on the map, it automatically knows it's an iPhone, open Apple Maps. It's an Android, open Google Maps. It's a Windows phone. We're going to pray for them. We want to make sure that that we can like get that positive signal. All right. Then continuing on down the when and where, you've got your Sunday necessities. So what Sundays are like, always, always, always have a description of what Sundays are like. So let's pick on Evan. Okay, our services, breakfast. Here we go. Modern worship. Modern, what does modern mean? Led by a
Y-
praise band.
Yep.
So yeah, so just a little more descriptive even. But yeah, I think this is a good start. What I like to do is separate it a little bit more. What to wear? Does SMBC have something? Ah, not them. My SMB church. There we go. Uh, no, they did an FAQ. Well, they added that. That shouldn't be there. What time, midweek? What should I expect my first visit? In service, our culture. They've got a video. Um, what's another one? Well, I guess City Point. I don't want to keep going to City Point, but what to expect? Getting here, where to park, the atmosphere. They have coffee tables, not pews. Um, what is worship like, and what's for the kids, right? We combine two sections here. So just include, what to expect, what do I wear, how long is service, all that good stuff. Include information for the kids. Depending on your church, it may just be kids, it may be kids and youth. You may want to split this in two sections, it's fine. I like to include a message from the pastor. If it's a video, great. If it's written, nothing wrong with that either. And then your FAQ, right? So you saw an example of that. Just what do people often ask? This is also a great place to just brag about yourself a little bit. Um, where do we park? We have visitor parking. Um, what do I need to bring? Don't bring anything but yourself. We'll have coffee and donuts for you, whatever it is. Do you have a bookstore? We don't have a bookstore, but everyone can go home with a free Bible if you want. If you there's like questions you wish people were asking, if you can ask them here, they'll click on it and be like, oh, that's interesting. Just try to keep it positive. We had a client that was like, we really like to say, are you guys a cult? Like, that's just a weird negative thing. I think it's funny, but it's like, why would you even put that into someone's head? And then do your last call or plan a visit or put a contact form at the bottom. So that's the plan a visit page. The other page that's going to be often your most often visited page is your about page. Um, in the analytics, it's a competition almost. Who gets the most visits? Plan a visit page or about page, or leadership page. So for the about page, again, just some different design elements that you can play around with. But this one is, just don't be cute about our church. Have some information here. I'd like to put a little testimonial in here because again, this is going to be one of your most visited pages. So let's sneak in some more Jesus in here. List your mission and vision, although I prefer it vision than mission. And then your beliefs. Beliefs are tough because we believe in so many things. So um, I like to split it either by tabs. I just don't want them scrolling for a mile because that can get kind of daunting. You can also link out if you have a Baptist faith and message, but try to keep it to like an internal doc. Don't just link out to another website because then that's another distraction. But I like this where we have it separated by tabs or in boxes. And then you can list your leaders. If you have more than 6 leaders, you probably need an actual page of leaders. Um, and then you may also, everyone likes to do their leaders differently. I'll tell you, I like it when the pastors get a little bit more of a spotlight than the church team because the pastors are going to be more the people that I see every Sunday. The church team, the church leadership, maybe not. If you want everyone to have a good bio, then they need to have their own leadership page. But if you just want to actually, yeah, so my SMB church does that. So pastor's got a bio, first lady's got a bio, youth pastor's got a bio, and then we've got the ministerial staff just linked here. So, because first of all, getting information from all these people, I'll show you a bad example. Because these guys just will not give me information. We've got information from pastor, lead elder, nothing. Deacon's got some stuff here. Media teams. Oh, we've actually gotten more than I remember. So ironically, the lead elder is the only one that we're waiting for now. Um, it's just hard to get all this from everyone. But kudos to Full Deliverance because this wasn't full a few months ago. But if you want everyone to have a breakdown like this is fine too. City Point, I think, has everyone on one page because it's pretty much led by their family. No, they got it. They got their own page too. Pastor Gary Taylor, pastor's wife, nursery director. Um, so yeah, so if you're gonna have your own leadership page, don't make it complicated. Just list everyone. If you can get consistent pictures like this, great. If not, just use good pictures. Don't get even youth pastor. Don't get a picture of him in a clown nose. I know it's cute, but it doesn't work well on the website. All right, and then you again, every page should end with something to do. So if this isn't plan a visit, maybe they can book a time to speak with a leader or hey, give me a call back. But always give them something else to do. Discover more. So maybe you send them over to a ministry page, send them over to plan a visit, wherever you want to send them to. So always give them something else to do. So that's the about page. Ministries pages. This is pretty simple. There should be two of these, but we just combine them into one. So ministries, and then again, we're following left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and we continue on. Just list your ministries, brief description, click to go to the ministry page. You could also just do them in columns, ministry 1, 2, 3, and then end with another call to action. Now, ideally, they're going to go look at the ministries individually, but maybe it's like, hey, come explore them in person, call to action. All right. Now, this is one that I get very particular about, and then we'll take a break for a quick break, is the actual individual ministry landing pages. We want ministry pages to be consistent. So if you have a ministry page, for example, I'll actually call out Second Missionary. See how they have all these ministries? We did our best. We did our darndest to get everyone on the same page. So we got welcome, photos, when we meet, testimonials, a little bit about the pastor, frequently asked questions, more pictures. Ideally, every ministry page would look like this. But as we continue on, because they got so many, women's ministry, welcome, pictures, when we meet, leader. We don't have any FAQs. We don't have any testimonials. So this page gets cut a little short. And then the same thing if we go to another ministry, health and wellness, welcome, leader, that's it. So you see how it's a little bit like, well, why do they even have this page if there's not as much on it? You want every page to be the same. So a good example, we've got ministry, welcome, video, pictures, testimonials, more pictures. We go to the youth. Title, welcome, video, mission, testimonials, pictures. We go to, what is Father's Storehouse? They added that. I don't know what that is. They had, yeah, same thing. Title, services, video, welcome, leaders, pictures, right? Testimonials. So you want every ministry because then it looks like every ministry is like on point and doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you go to a website, I wish I could remember the one I did a couple weeks ago, where it's like the children's page was banging. We got all this stuff. It's great. We're doing this, this, and this. And we got events coming up, and this is our curriculum. It looks great. And then we went to the youth page, and it's like youth led by Miss Sandy, Sundays at 5. And it's like there was so little information there. It was tough. It was like we were impressed with the children's ministry and then incredibly let down by the youth ministry. So we want to, all that to say, we want to make sure that our ministry pages, if they have a ministry, they should have all this information completed so that they can have a page that looks like this, right? And so following the example that I gave you, the form, we want all ministries, here we go, to look like, to have this information. And again, it looks simple typed out, but once you actually put it to a page, it looks good. So ministry name, tagline, meeting times, Video welcome if you can. It can be on a um it could just be on a cell phone. I think this one's on a cell phone. Doesn't have to be fancy. Um, where was I? And then a little bit more about what the ministry is. Here you can include the mission statement, just a little bit more about what it is, what they do, testimonials, FAQs. And we're seeing less of this. I still want to include it, but for a time, we got a lot of contact forms from individual ministry pages looking for volunteer opportunities, signing up for something, asking if they can handle their special needs kids. So I like to end it with a form. This is becoming less and less required as web chat becomes more popular and people kind of figure out other ways to get in contact with you. But always at least end it with something. You could also say, view another ministry and go to another ministry. So those are your primary pages minus give. I'm going to take a break here to take a sip. Any questions so far? Feel free to X. All good in the neighborhood. Cool. We'll keep trucking along. We got two giving examples. One of them's for like a small church. If you just have a link to give and you don't really have anything else to say, a simple give page is all you need. You know, give online, click here to give in person, include information about, giving in person at the offering, or mail in information. Chances are, if you're a small church with an older congregation, you're still getting mail ins. I'm surprised by it, but I know a church that they live off their mail in donations. So that information is good to have. Now, the giving page that I prefer is going to be a little bit more in depth as far as what's giving for. So give the church name, describe what giving is for and what it goes towards, and then, spend some time addressing a little bit of education here. What does giving go towards? It goes towards local missions, towards ministry events, towards salary and facilities, towards whatever. The giving page is very personal to your church. It's very unique to your church. So I can only advise on what I like to see. Can't really tell you what should be on there. That's really going to be up to the pastor and elders' discretion. So where do I have the give page? Here we go. So, just include what giving goes towards, how it's helpful, and then any other FAQs. But again, we want it to be positive. We don't want to say, should I be concerned about security? Don't bring up negatives at this point. What does the Bible say about giving? How much should I give? These are just some examples. Should I give online or in person? Ideally, you'll have your give page embedded. But if not, excuse me, your giving form embedded. But if not, you can also just include a link. So again, going back here, give to make a change. This one I like actually because we separate it. We have local giving. If you give, here's what your local gifts go towards locally. Testimonial from a family that was helped through the church's giving. And then we've got international, like, hey, we don't just do local, we also do international. And we have some pictures of their international ministries. Then they have their FAQs. Okay. So they do that. Obviously, no other church is going to be like this because they have their own unique way of giving. Um, who else has a good giving page? I think theirs is a little much. So be a part of our changing community. They have a giving video, why we give, God's changing lives, testimonials, and local missions. And then they've got the embedded give page here. So that's what I recommend. I like this version better, but just having some information of what to give. My data is old. I think it's from like 2016, 2017. But when you have information like this that explains why give, what to give, what giving goes towards, the impact that your giving has, you have more donations, and the people that we're going to give more. So the data we had said, the average gift was $35. And then 1 year after improving the page, the average gift was $42. So giving actually went, even though the numbers didn't change of givers, the amount of giving went up. So it's just people are opening their wallets, they'll open them wider if they know it's going to a good cause. And the people that were on the fence are more likely to jump over when they know it's a good cause. So I always recommend avoid this, do this. The last example I have here is the sermons page, just an example of what I like to see. Um, Watch a message, latest message. Most people are going to be coming here to watch last week's message. This could also be the live stream. Hey, watch live. Okay, great. Here it is. Um, and then all messages, very simple. You can do it by sermon title or you can do it by sermon series. I think we have it on here. Let's see, more resources. No, we've got two. But we got the latest sermon here, and then all sermons down below. And you can search by series or speaker. So just make it super simple. And again, if you can, don't just say October 6th or October whatever, unless it works. There's one church that it does work. I don't show them often. Is it .com? Because they're a very special church. Sermons. They literally have it this way because they have such an older congregation. They are actually in the middle of a retirement community that people were complaining because I don't know, I missed 3 weeks ago and I don't know which one it is. So we actually have to title it by the date because it serves this church well. But for everyone else, I recommend don't do that. Show what you're talking about. So we're obviously talking about speaking gifts, evangelism, prophecy, um, distinguishing the spirits, prophecy, and all that. So I always recommend, make it even if it's expository, like you're just going through a book of the Bible, still give them good titles so that way people can understand kind of what they're going into. So if I'm checking out the church and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting, Jesus and the unwanted, no, no, no. Your sin will find you out. Oh my goodness. Um, but I might see something in here that will catch my eye. I think another one, actually a good example of that. No, I did it again. I mean, www.meetbethel. Another example of a sermon page. Now they use sermon.net, but I can see blessing of baptism, biblical guide to voting. Oh, okay. I'm interested in that. Faith under fire, a nation returns to God. So obviously he's really preaching to what's on the people's minds. They did a discipleship sermon series. So just seeing what the topic is of the day, even if you're preaching a book of the Bible, I recommend, with pastor's permission, if you're doing this part and you're not the pastor, and he just gives you a sermon title and a date, excuse me, a sermon scripture and a date, go ahead and make a title based on what you think will capture people's attention to get them to actually listen to the message, because that's why we're here. Um, this is another church. I'm surprised. The data that we have for most clients, people don't listen to sermons after 3 months. The number just hits zero, except for this church. For some reason, when I log into the back end, because when we migrated their site, they got complaints. Oh, the sermon's only back 3 months. And I'm like, why are they complaining? Like I literally assumed they were just making a huss and fuss because they didn't have anything else to make a huss and fuss about. So I went into the data that sermon.net has. And people are consistently listening to sermons from months ago, from like 2023, 2022. I'm like, why? And it may have to do something with the search, but it may also just be their community. I don't know. So we actually had to go in and upload years of sermons when we migrated, but it all worked out for the good. So I always recommend having, like, this is just another option of what it can look like. This is a sermon.net embed. They're on the highest plan. I don't know too much about it. All I know is on Monday morning, Connie downloads the video, edits it, and uploads it to sermon.net, and they do the rest. So it's pretty simple for that to use. But that's what I like the sermon page to look like. Last message on top, rest of the messages. If you want to split it into two, you can. I don't like it, but a lot of pastors tell us they want that. So we do it. But I prefer to all have it all in one page. All right. We're still waiting on events and contact is a contact page, but these are your primary pages. So as you have your um, content planner filled out, you can refer to these pages and say, oh, okay, well, here's a simple framework: text, image, text, map, text, image, text, right? And you'll notice the framework kind of matches these recipes, illustrations, whatever you want to call them, one to one. Um, and the way that I like to edit is I will do text first and then images. So I will go through, I'm not going to worry about an image. I'm going to do my text because again, the images need to support the text. So what Sundays are like, I'm going to get all the text in here that I want. And then, maybe I find out that I answer one of the FAQs up here, or I want to move one of these down to the FAQs. And then once I have all the text, then I say, what picture would best showcase what I'm saying? What picture would best back it up? And if I don't have that picture, I'll go take it on Sunday. Or maybe you make a list, hand it off to a few volunteers and say, go find some pictures that capture this. And you can give it to one volunteer, you can give it to multiple. That way you're getting multiple views of what Sundays are like. And you can choose which one you like. Um, you'll notice that nothing in our frameworks are sliders. Sliders suck. Sorry to say it. It's a bad experience. I think there's one slider that we use and it's testimonials. But even then I hate it. Try to avoid it if possible. Because people don't click when they want to find out more information, they scroll. So anything you're hiding with sliders, just have them scroll. There's very few reasons why we have sliders in today's world. They really only work best B2B. So avoid sliders. The only exemption is like background, like you're going to be changing images. But if you're going to do that, just make it a video. That's what we say. Good example is City Point. This was before it was a video, it was just changing images, and then we literally just put it on a video with a Ken Burns effect, and it looks a lot better. We want people to scroll when they want more information. They're just not going to click. And if they see something interesting and it slides past them, now they're like, what do I do now? How do I get back to that? I actually wanted to see that. So we want to avoid sliders. Always keep it static. Yes, it's boring, but it works. And when we do it works, people come to church. So, all right, guys. Well, that's walking through the main pages. Like I said, there's a few more recipes that I'm waiting for at the time of this recording, but we'll follow the same thing. So our assignment for the next 2 weeks is to start implementing. Take these recipes and make them your own. Maybe you'll feel like, the flow needs to be different. And that's the good thing about the section design philosophy is that, if you feel like, for example, I actually, on the homepage, I prefer the testimonials to come after the empathetic headline. So, very easy thing with this section-based design construction. We're just going to swap these. We're literally going to take one, move it down, and put the testimonial on top. Very easy to swap. So, you like I said, your homepage typically takes about a week. Your plan to visit might take a week, and your about page with that. But then everything else is basically, I kind of know what the design should look like. You'll get a feel of it. You'll get in the zone. I think you can do the rest in a week. So your homework for this week is to get started on your internal pages. And then next week, we're going to be doing a review. So I'll start looking at them and start taking them apart, roasting you. But this should be fairly simple. And if you have more pages, for example, facility rental, right? Like, I think this looks great. But you don't need to worry about stuff like this. Get your about page under snuff. Get your messages taken care of. Get your about page, staff page. Get these main pages taken care of. And then from there, you can do those secondary pages because that's just not where the top pages are. So we want to get those top pages taken care of first.